What's good? So today I'm running you through why your DMs aren't converting on LinkedIn. I'm going to show you some advanced techniques that you can use. I'm going to show you how you can temp check DMs correctly to move people down a buyer journey, and how to get into the right frame of mind as well to make sure that you are aligned with this ICP or prospect that you're talking to. Right now I'm using this exact same framework in my DMs and I'm booking around 5 to 10 calls a week. It's getting my clients hundreds of leads, like my client Yitka, who got over 100 leads by running this flywheel and started finally signing clients internationally off the back of it. This is what is working right now on the platform and I want to jump straight in. So first of all, you need to start seeing your DMs on LinkedIn as a full buyer journey. You're not just going straight from conversation to call anymore. You're trying to move them through this process and understand where they're at. So for this, you need to understand sort of the full picture and how it ties into this content strategy here as well. If you're interested in learning about this content strategy, we ran through it a few weeks back. I'll put the video in the description, but it'll basically show you how you build trust at scale, how you nurture people properly. Today we're running through the DMs that align with this content strategy. And this content strategy mixed with the DMs is called my dual acquisition system. The system that lets you build trust at scale, use DM properly, temperature check, provide the right value at the right time, and move people through this buyer journey naturally. First thing I want to say is it's not necessarily a funnel either. You're not forcing people down. There's actually an ecosystem and people are at sort of different frames of mind at different stages. The buyer journey might take longer for some people than others. Some people might move up and down it as you push and pull in DMs, and I'm going to show you the signals that you can start using. People are going to move forward and backwards along here. Some people might disappear, come back months later, but that's why we're building an ecosystem, and this is my Vegas model that keeps people trapped in here for as long as you need, basically. So when someone first enters this top of funnel ecosystem, they might not even acknowledge you exist yet. So the goal is pretty simple. Just get some acknowledgement or get them to understand that you exist as a person. And this can happen through just content naturally getting spat out to them. You can comment on their post as well. Your name will pop up in their feed and that could help them acknowledge you. But there's nothing wrong with sending a little DM either. Now, we've got two routes that we sort of go down here. You can either send a personalized conversational message, or you can try and provide some value up front to them straight away. Either showing you're a valuable source of information or you're just being human. It's important to know at this stage they don't know you. They're probably busy and they might have a problem they don't see the solution of yet. Something might feel off for them and they don't know what to do about it. So you need to create recognition and not sell to them. Have no agenda here, or just create one subtly. Something that we've been using that works well is, hey name, saw we've been connected a little while, haven't actually spoken. I saw your post on X, it caught my attention, especially that bit about AEO versus SEO. How are things going on your end? The other approach is a cold outbound, but it's still very relevant. It all comes down to your prospecting and getting hold of the right people first of all to understand what their pains are and stuff like that. But this works. Hey Terry, had looked through your website and profile earlier. The model you're running looks solid, especially how you're handling X situation. Quick heads up, I speak to a lot of people in the financial space, for example, and a common issue right now is XYZ. Recently I helped someone with this and saw you in the same space, so thought it might be relevant. I've got a short breakdown I can send over if it's useful. And that's it, because the conversation can start from there because you've got acknowledgement. And once they reply, LinkedIn's going to start pushing their content to you and your content to them. So this is very effective, and this is why I love LinkedIn as well. Now, at this point you hit a little bit of a crossroads, right? Because you can actually move people through the whole buyer journey through just doing outbound alone, and it's why outbound is effective. But the reason we use a dual acquisition system, because now your content is going to be used to nurture them, help them understand your process, build trust, see your resources, see your social proof, and also just be used as glue that keeps them in your ecosystem. So now they've started to recognize you through DMs, on their feed, whatever, their mindset's going to start to shift to, this person can help me with my painful problem, for example. This person can help me improve my SEO. This person understands AI, whatever that is. Now they're going to start to want to know how you do it. And at this stage, you'll see lead magnet opt-ins, longer replies, better questions being asked. Your job is basically now to label their problem clearly. For this, the best way to do that is to get them to admit it themselves. So this is where we can start making market assumptions to show you understand their world before they've even said anything. So for example, I might assume, are your leads coming in predictably, or is it a bit hit or miss? A lot of people I speak to are posting consistently but still relying on referrals. Curious if that's similar for you. They'll say something like, could always be better, and then you can respond, that makes sense. I hear that a lot, especially when people are posting content that isn't tied to one clear topic. And this is so important as well, because in this stage you can get them to say their problem themselves, and that is powerful. It means more, it strikes that emotion in them, and they can really feel that pain. And in this stage, this is where you start to sort of dominate their feed. So your content is going to be consistently showing up because LinkedIn's going to be pushing it out hard for you. So they're going to start opting into lead magnets, they're going to start replying quicker to you, they're going to start sending longer messages, they're going to start opening up to you, they're going to start talking about the pain that they're suffering from. And this point is where they are normally at a stage where they can book a call. So their mindset is probably something like, I know I need this, there are tools, content, DMs, funnels, I see all this, I just don't know how I can put this all together. And at this stage you introduce systems and not tactics. You're selling people on a real transformation, not just like done to-do list basically. And this is where they're going to start to understand that whatever the solution you provide is can actually be useful for them. So AI can save me 10 hours a week, SEO can actually help me start generating hundreds of leads. Your job is basically to show them the system that can provide that solution. So for example, I'd say it's not that you are lacking effort, it's that you don't have a dual acquisition system in place that allows people to naturally move through the buyer journey to become to a point where they can book on a call and become a client. So like I said, you position the solution and position yourself as someone who understands the root cause, not just like surface level problems. And at this point, the signal is pretty simple. They're just going to book onto a call with you. So your calls are going to become much easier because they already trust you and they understand what you do here. All you're doing is basically just presenting an offer, answering questions they have, handling objections that might be holding them back, naming your mechanism, showing results, and just building the belief in your product basically. So then action, payment taken. And if they don't close on the call, you can basically just follow up calmly. You can anchor value and let logic of the solution you provide do most of the work. Now this system would be great if all buyers were the same, but unfortunately they're not. So competition is higher, buyers are more skeptical, and people are demanding more of a solution. Some people might like you, they might resonate with you, but they're not ready to buy. And that's first of all why we build the Vegas business model that keeps them sort of running in the ecosystem, so that 3, 5, 6, 8 months down the line, they might come back round. I've had people that have booked a call after 8 months of following up with them. They finally jumped on a call, and we went from there. I also use these acceleration vehicles to sort of draw the line in the sand and show them that we are trying to sell them something, speed up that value exchange so they can see that we're credible as well. The 3 main ones I use are social proof, showing results, the testimonials in your post on your page. Sometimes this happens naturally when their content gets spat out to them, but I do send it sometimes to them directly as well, so they can just get it clear as day see it. If your DMs dry up and they're being a bit slow in DMs, maybe being a bit skeptical in DMs, you can send them a long form YouTube video. Basically say something along the lines of, look, it looks like you've got a solid process in place, looks like you're happy with your results. I've noticed a few small tweaks that you can make around content, around DMs, around your funnel. I've got a YouTube video here that I can send you that you might find some value from. Don't worry, there's no opt-in, there's no need to sign up to anything, just some value that I've seen for you, and leave it at that. That basically draws the line in the sand. It's saying, look, I don't need to make a sale here, I just want to give you some value. I'm going to step away, let content do the rest, temp check them in a month. These are the things that are really going to help you position yourself as that authority. And then the final one I use is lead magnets. So this just creates rapid entry to DMs and almost gives you permission to go into DMs, right? They opt in, you tag them as a lead, and then when they get the lead magnet, the value that is provided builds authority instantly and then makes them want to come and have an actual conversation with you to hear more about the value that you've provided in the lead magnet. So these acceleration vehicles help me move people forward while still holding the frame of the conversation, help me draw that line in the sand, helps people go from passive prospects to like active buyers. And like I said, you can always just tag them as a lead if they don't show interest, and then temp check them again in a month to see where they're at. Cool. Now with all that in mind, I want to go through some advanced techniques. So this is actually when you're in the battlefield. These are some simple little things that you can use, that I've used, that I can see so much ROI from. So the first one here is signal stacking. So if someone's liking posts but the signals are light, they're warm but they're not boiling hot. So if your content nurtures them, signals compound over time, and when they book a call, it feels like they already know you. So just hold off a little bit, let that do the work, trust your process, and then listen for the more intense temp checks, and then you can sort of position your offer. So next is a deliberate delay in your messaging. So we're going to touch more on this later, but if you can mirror their pace, you're going to get much more trust in what they say basically. So if they're giving you fast replies, get fast replies. If they give you slow replies, give them slow replies. If you can see they're pretty warm, I sometimes just put a deliberate pause into the message, right? What this does is it shows composure, it shows you're not desperate, and then when you do it right, it builds trust a lot faster. So the next one is just a soft framing, right? And it's using phrases like, out of curiosity. So basically here is where you're maybe pivoting out of that conversational tone to more direct talking about their business, and you're just defining a conversation without forcing anything. And remember, sales is therapy at the end of the day. You need to see if you can help them first, and questions like this can really start to adjust that frame. It stops you being in that like rapport building frame for months and then suddenly transition into a pitch, because it just looks stupid. The next is like echoing their language. Now, an example that I had of this is someone came to me saying, I want to make more money in my business. So obviously what I provide here is leads to them, and the script would be like, oh, go and generate more leads. This is how I'll help you generate more leads. However, for this prospect, it was important that I said, I've got a system that can help you generate more money online. I use content and outbound DM to help you generate more money. And then that allowed him to reply and book a call after that. Mirror their exact words. When they hear their own language, the trust will spike. So listen properly, not like a robot. You'll find a lot more joy in the process. The next one is re-entry via content. So if someone's aired you, conversations died, like their post, comment on it, stay visible, set reminders to message them or comment on a post, reopen the conversation naturally. If your content's good, they'll stay in the ecosystem. They might like a post of 3 months down the line, you can outreach them again. And if one of their posts comes up on your feed or you want to message them again, go into their page, look at their recent posts, find a topic that is relevant to you and just be like, saw that post on X, remembered our conversation about Y. Is that painful problem that you were facing still an issue? There we go. And the final technique is tone stability, right? So people can start calm and then drift into over explaining in this sort of soft pitching mode. What you need to do here is hold your tone. Don't increase your effort as you get closer to a pitch. Stay calm with the same energy and trust will just build faster. To wrap this up, I want to talk through some of like the mindsets you should be in when you're sending these DMs. Some of the questions you need to ask yourself depending on the stage they're in, right? During like the nurture period where you're actually trying to get them on a call, you need to ask yourself, first of all, where are they at in the buyer journey? Are they above or below me? Because that changes how you frame the conversation. Am I creating recognition, clarity, or momentum with this message? Am I speaking their language and am I matching their pace? So these questions will really help you mirror that person in DMs. And then before pitching a call, you need to ask, have they acknowledged the problem in their own words? Do they believe it's solvable using your solution, and have they leaned into that solution as well? And if this is all yes, the call feels so natural that it's just undeniable that they'll get on a call. So that is literally everything that you need to start having these conversations on LinkedIn and booking 5 to 10 calls a week for yourself. I've got a resource that can break down even more of these techniques, including each stage of the buyer journey, some sample DMs that you can send, how to build rapport, how to know where they're at in the buyer journey, and even more advanced techniques to improve your conversions and your reply rate. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, first link in the description will be my LinkedIn profile. Go drop me a message, say funnel, and I'm going to send that DM script straight through to you. Apart from that, that's everything, and I'll look forward to hearing from you soon.